Hello, my name is LaWanda Hopefields, and I have the honor and the privilege of serving as the director for the Ronald E. McNair Post-Baccalaureate Achievement Program, also known as McNair Scholars. During this 2019-20 academic year, we are excited to celebrate our anniversary of 25 years on the Wichita State campus. Although during this year, we have encountered many challenges, as most of America has, we are so proud to still celebrate our students, and we have great appreciation for the faculty members who have stayed the course to bring this year's scholarly activities to a close. I would like to acknowledge my boss and mentor, Ms. Delta Q. Colvin, for her support during these most recent challenging times, but also for her confidence in me to lead this dynamic group of students. Miss Ashley Cervantes and Miss Nisha Green are the capable hands behind the scene, and a mere thank you is not enough for all that they do. They are the backbone of our program, and I am forever grateful. As we celebrate 25 years of academic excellence and 15 students who are completing their scholarly research, I also want to thank you as our supporters and as our listeners. Thank you for being there for the students and for the program as we celebrate 25 years of academic excellence. Enjoy these dynamic presentations.
Good afternoon. My name is Barbera Hernandez, and my mentor is Dr. Katherine Cramer. My research for this year was using young adult literature as a mirror, racial representation in the Morris Award from 2009 to 2019. The Morris Award is given to a first-time author who is an impressive voice in young adult literature. Bill Morris, the award's namesake, was highly influential in the publishing world. Recognizing new authors meant so much to him that he bequeathed $400,000 to this award before his death. Exploring young adult literature through the Morris Award was pertinent because representation can have an adverse effect on individuals as they develop. Crucial benefits of racial representation include getting rid of stereotypes. More often than not, characters of color are portrayed through negative stereotypes, so shedding light on this issue can help disband these ideas. The second area is writing from the reader's perspective. Literature, especially YAL, has language sometimes that is inaccessible, or is written from a perspective that many readers of color cannot relate to, which also ties into tackling difficult topics. YAL often covers sensitive topics such as teen pregnancy, drugs, racial inequities, etc. And while it may seem that there needs to be censorship, it is actually the total opposite. Like books, people have varying stories. So for readers out there who even read one book that has a difficult topic they can relate to, it may just change their life. For these reasons, the purpose of my research was to focus on racial representation in YAL, specifically protagonists and winners of the Morris Award over the last 10 years. Personally, I chose this research because I remember working at my local library in high school and reading as much YA as I could in my spare time. There were certain books I would latch onto, but could never understand why I would do that. As I have researched this topic, I realized because I saw myself through these characters and their stories aligned very much with my own. The research question I chose to answer was, what is the racial makeup of young adult literature protagonists and winners of the Morris Award in the last 10 years? The analytical framework used in this research was based off of one created by Rudine Sims Bishop in 1982 in her book Shadow and Substance, The Afro-American Experience in Contemporary Children's Fiction. While analyzing the African American experience, she constructed these areas to break it down: socially conscious, melting pot, and socially conscious. Socially conscious. This idea often centered around white protagonists because they believed that the target demographic was white readers. If African American characters were mentioned, they were usually a nuisance or they weren't mentioned at all. Melting pot. This included African American children, but did not put them as protagonists. This is when we started seeing them depicted in picture books alongside white protagonists. And then the last and third point was culturally conscious. This gave African American writers a platform to write about their culture and background, and not only share this with fellow African American readers, but other readers as well. The purpose of these areas was to analyze how African American characters were portrayed and how has it evolved since then. These are the 11 award winners I used for my research. For this research, the following areas were considered when reading and collecting data. The first area was author background and race. Often this information can be found on the back of the book or even inside of the book, but I chose to delve deeper and search on websites. Searching deeper to see, was their race the reason they wrote this book? Was it racially charged, etc.? The second point was physical characteristics of the protagonist. For this, I chose to read and annotate each book, writing down whether the author mentioned their hair color, their eye color, and most importantly, their race. And the second and third area was if and how race is addressed. Again, like the second point, I would read and annotate and make sure, was this book really based on race? Did it mention it a little bit or not at all? When reading each book, these areas were greatly considered and led to the following results. Only 36% of the authors were people of color, and 36% of the novels addressed race in some way. When analyzing author background, it showed that race was comprised of 7 white authors, 2 Black authors, 1 Hispanic author, and 1 Persian author. The area of physical characteristics of the protagonist showed 6 novels, 3 of which were by white authors and 3 by authors of color, explained the protagonist in detail, while 5 did not. And the last area of addressing race showed that 4 novels addressed race in some manner, while 7 did not. To reiterate, the purpose of this research was to analyze the 11 award winners of the Morris Award from 2009 to 2019. Only 36% of those authors and characters were of color. The Morris Award strives to promote new authors and stories, but it appears it needs to implement diversity among its authors and literature as it continues. When considering that the 4 authors who addressed race, that only 3 of the authors were of color is very telling. It shows that it is racially diverse authors who bring forth these diverse storylines. I would recommend the employment of sensitivity readers. These are individuals who specialize in specific areas, such as diversity, actually being a person of color, or having personal knowledge over a specific community. This can help prevent stories that depict false scenarios and make them very accurate. Further research would also explore sexuality and mental health in other YA novels as well, especially those with people of color. Oftentimes in communities of color, they are built on religion, sticking to the status quo, and overall ignorance. Exploring these topics can help readers of color who are curious and have these conversations with their families and their communities. This also ties along with the benefits of racial representation. When those stereotypes and misconceptions are taken away, it truly broadens one's horizons. In the words of my favorite author, Lori Halse Anderson, in her book, Shout, I celebrated the kids the world does not want to see. That was my goal as well with this research, and I hope I have done those kids justice. These are my references. I am open for discussion. I don't believe that there is a certain percentage, like 50%, 75%, but I do believe a good majority, considering that this award has been around for over 10 years, and this 36% percentage that I'm getting is coming from 4 out of 11. So over 10 years, only 4 out of 11 novels have addressed race or have people of color writing these books. I believe it should be a little bit more than that. Like I said, it shouldn't be a specific percentage, but it should be more than that. You know, I hadn't thought about that because I was just, doing this research for McNair, but if put in contact with the right people or even contacting them myself, I mean, I would consider it, considering they are an award that implements new authors and new voices. Maybe they would be open to diversity as well. It's a really good question. I picked the Morris Award because it is one that does strive to hear from new authors and new voices, and I thought maybe there is diversity here. Maybe there is something I can see through this award that maybe other awards aren't showing. As the research has shown, diversity isn't really on the top of their list. So if this award that says that they recognize new voices and authors doesn't even have diversity, maybe there are other awards I could take more of a look at to see specific areas that they need change as well. Thank you for listening. My name is Barbera Hernandez, and my research again is using young adult literature as a mirror, racial representation in the Morris Award from 2009 to 2019.